Tips and tricks when negotiating an NDA. A confidentiality agreement or non-disclosure agreement, or NDA, is something that you're going to see a lot in business. It's one of the most common agreements that you'll face. When you're engaged in early discussions with a party, it's typical to sign an NDA. And typically, if you're dealing with a larger company, they'll expect you to sign their NDA. So there are a few things that you should look for when faced with an NDA. One is it a mutual NDA or is it a one-way NDA? And you want it to be mutual because in business, there's always a flow of information back and forth. So you want it to cover your information as well as the other party's information. The other thing is that if it is mutual, then it's more likely to be fair. And if it's not fair, it'll be very obvious in the document if it's worded differently in terms of each party's obligations. In addition to the mutuality, look for a residuals clause. Residuals clauses are somewhat unusual in NDAs, but large companies will put them in. And what a residuals clause will say is it will say that if their employees look at your information and if they remember something in their unaided memory, then that's not confidential information. And that can be a problem because if they see something in your source code that they like, they can go implement that, and it would essentially be a theft of your trade secrets, except it's not under the NDA. So that's not a clause that you want in there. Sometimes you just can't help it, and you're in a position as a smaller company where you have to agree to it. In that case, you have to be careful about what you disclose and when you disclose it. Finally, the term of the NDA. If you want to protect trade secrets, ideally you want a perpetual term because you don't necessarily want those things to go into the public domain after a certain period of time. However, the norm is, in Silicon Valley, the norm is 2, 3, or 4 or 5 years is often what we see for an NDA term. And the theory is that business changes so fast and business models change so fast that you shouldn't need longer than that. That might be the case, but it's something to keep in mind what the term is and what kind of information that you're turning over. So those are the 3 main points: mutuality, residuals clause, and the term. Of course, there are many other things that could be in an NDA, and the best course of action is to have your attorneys review it and help you with it.